Apple Music versus Spotify. Ecosystems. Okay, so obviously Apple Music works swimmingly in the ecosystem. It's nice. Spotify, on the other hand, can be used with a wide variety of assistants and smart speakers. If you use Apple Music, then you're obligated to buy a HomePod. On that note, however, I do have to say that I really did enjoy using my HomePod. Next, let's talk about library management. I really like how easy it is to look at your downloaded library in Apple Music. I'm actually gonna pause and talk about this for a sec because as a regular Spotify user, I hate the way Spotify handles my library. On top of the fact that you have to like a song to add it to your library, it's also really hard to separate what's in my library from what isn't. I like that with Apple Music, I can just add something to my library and it doesn't have to be in my liked playlist. There are some songs which I don't necessarily want there, and it's kind of like having a friend of a friend. On that note, I really like that Apple has a separate app for podcasts. As I said, I really dislike the way everything is just mashed together in Spotify. Next, adding your own music. With Apple, you can add your own, possibly pirated music. And it's actually quite easy, to the extent that I've found music in the cloud that I did not even want there. But that is an easy thing to fix. Why do I care about this? Well, honestly, these days musical piracy doesn't make a lot of sense, but overall, it's just nice to have options. Also, some people have audio files which are not available on Spotify, and it's really nice to be able to use them. Now, Spotify does claim to allow this. However, I tested it pretty extensively using a number of files, pirated and otherwise, and despite following the instructions to a T, I was not able to get it to work at all. Next, app quality and bugginess. Apple's app just feels more clearly thought out and intuitive. I know that I use the word intuitive a lot with Apple stuff, and honestly, I do so for a reason. Apple software bangs 99% of the time. Spotify is honestly a little glitchy at times and doesn't feel as well thought out. A big difference that I've noticed between the two is how the search function works. Apple search is simple and far-reaching and seemingly bug-free. With Spotify, I've had multiple experiences where I couldn't find the things that I knew were there, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a search function, no? I like that Apple has lyrics built into the player. Frankly, I think this encourages people to sing along and also get the lyrics right, and more people singing accurately is normally a good thing in my opinion. Spotify instead, in their infinite wisdom, decided to give us little clips of video that play over and over again, and I'm really glad that I can turn this off because I like album art. Next, music quality. Apple has this thing called spatial audio. It's a really cool feature, but I feel like it's not really a stark enough change to really make a huge difference. Something which Spotify does better, however, is that it automatically has variable rates of quality, which it adapts based on your internet connection strength. This is a really good feature because it means more uninterrupted playtime, regardless of your internet connection strength. Apple does do this to a degree, but it isn't quite as good or as adaptive. On the other hand, Apple provides its highest quality streaming at no extra cost. Spotify has promised to release a higher quality, more Apple-esque streaming option later this year, but will do so for more money, of course. While we're talking about the quality though, I just like to point out that while Apple's quality is great, you won't get to take full advantage of that lossless streaming that they're so happy to talk about, because if you're using any kind of AirPods, none of them support that feature. Not even AirPods Max, which is just like, wasn't that the point of, I don't know. Anyway, according to Apple, lossless playback does not even work with HomePods, which they are planning to fix in the future. That said, if you do have a HomePod, I can personally say it does sound better than most other smart speakers, and the AirPods Max, again, are beautiful, but too expensive. Next, playlists. I have to say that Spotify has hands down got better playlists. I've mentioned this in my HomePods video, and frankly, while Apple's playlists are nice, they feel very sterile. Like, if someone from work who you didn't know very well made you a playlist, that's the kind of vibe that Apple playlists have. Also, Spotify allows us to make collaborative playlists, which is so much more fun and social. Next, when you leave. This isn't a big category, but I did just want to note that if you leave Apple Music, they will basically just take all of your shit and burn it. Spotify is the significant other that never gets over you. They'll keep all of your playlists and your saved library because even if you cancel, there's the free version. So there's a sense in which you never really have to cancel with Spotify, which is kind of nice. Next, pricing. Spotify has an ad-powered free option, as I just mentioned. In my opinion, this is better than Apple Music for a couple of reasons. The most significant of which being that if I'd like to share a song with you, I don't have to worry about whether or not you pay for Spotify. I can't do that with Apple Music because it's an exclusively paid service, and as mentioned before, you don't have to worry about losing your playlists or saved library if you cancel premium. On top of that, Spotify has a lot more price options, and that's really nice because it means that more people can afford it. And on that note, it's also really nice that Spotify has a $12 option for couples who might want to save a buck or two. Apple will just charge you $15 if it's more than one person. Next, recommendations. Spotify still has a better algorithm. Apple's has improved over the years, but it's still really not there yet. Combine that with Spotify's fantastic playlists, and overall, they are just killing the recommendation game. except that one time they recommended Drake to everyone in every category and every genre ever. Next, the bottom line. It's hard to make a definitive statement as to which platform is better. In this case, it's a lot like buying a computer in the sense that deciding which one is better is largely dependent on what you need. If you sold your soul to the cult of Apple and you have a solid internet connection most of the time, etc., Apple Music might be the thing for you, especially if you're using corded headphones and you're dying for that lossless goodness. Having said that, I think that gun to my head, I'd have to say that Spotify is overall better. It's not as pretty, but it does the job well enough, and that's mostly just because it's vastly more flexible and will work for more people. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I will be right back.